your life in JNU. In that one day, Shehla, the lives of 3 students, which is yours, Omar Khalid and Kanhaiya Kumar, it changed. Tell us about that. Do you feel that one protest was a life changer for you? What happened that day? What happened during that protest?
So it was not just a life changer for the 3 of us. The entire university's life, the entire university sort of suffered the consequences of that incident because there was so much backlash against anything to do with JNU. So overnight, from being an elite university, the queen of liberal arts and social sciences, etc., it just went, JNU became a slur. It was almost like a cuss word. And anyone who's not even from JNU but who is perceived to be critical and whatever, the term used to be used against them that अरे ये तो JNU type है या JNU वाले type है इस type के. So JNU actually became a slur, and I've studied at CSSS, which is one of the the sociology center in JNU. It is globally one of the top centers in sociology. But yes, those what happened that day. I mean, I wasn't present there physically, but what happened that day, I mean, everyone saw it on TV. And yes, it certainly did a disservice to our university because those kind of slogans were never raised by any student. They were raised for by people from, we've had protests, we've had a culture of protests ranging dating back to 1975 and whatnot. There have been protests before that day, there have been protests after that day. No such slogans have been raised. What are the usual slogans in JNU? Lal Salam,
tukde honge.
Yeah, those kind of things. They've never been raised. I mean, the kind of slogans that we raise is Lal Salam and all of those things. Like everyone knows the usual slogans.
The communist slogans.
Yeah, left-leaning, whatever.
And you were a member of the ISA, so those slogans
I was an elected member of the student union at that time. Yeah, and I mean, the event was held by a private group. But that's the thing about JNU. I mean, we don't really stop anyone. I mean, tomorrow if the ABVP decides to hold some protest, the student union has no say. We will not say, no, you will not hold this protest. So yeah, the student union could not have said, please don't do this, because they were well within their rights. And the thing is that we suffer the consequences of our choices, basically. However, the consequences of that protest, they were not faced just by the organizers or the people who raised those slogans, but by the entire university, world-class professors. They had, show cause notices against them, in the protests that ensued and all of that. So yeah, I mean, the scholarships were cut, like the infrastructural funds and everything, because the university was demonized. So yeah, we all suffered the consequences of that.
Do you feel responsible for that?
No, I do not personally feel responsible for it, because it was not my area to either stop them or anything. I wasn't present there. Even if I were present there and I had asked them to stop it, they would have probably not stopped.
But there were pictures of you sitting with Kanhaiya and Omar Khalid.
No, not on that day, no.
Omar Khalid was one of your... he was your friend.
In the protests that followed, in the protests that followed, we all came together as a university and we started, saying that... it became a Save JNU kind of moment. So it went beyond those slogans, everything. When the student union president was arrested, that is something that had only happened, during the emergency. So people drew parallels to that, and there was this perceived, threat to the university that we sort of fought against. And yes, in that moment, everybody sort of galvanized together. So yeah, I mean, due to that, because the incident was overblown and all of that, those kind of differences vanished, and the entire university, I mean, earlier, frankly, when we would go for protests and all, we would be just begging people, aajo protest mein. We would, struggle to gather 10, 15 people. But what those arrests did is that organizations which did not even have a following of 15 people, now they got an audience of not just the 4,000 students at the university, but the entire country. So yeah, I mean, it gained a life, it snowballed into quite another thing.
Click here to watch the full episode.